Hey, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic Live. I'm your host, Neil Johnson, excited to be with you and always excited to share the news with you folks. But I'm really excited about this story. And I was watching Barack Obama the other day, and I even shared a video of his where he was talking about the weaponization of justice. And his body language was really odd. And I was watching it going, what is going on here? I'm going to share that video with you. And then I'm going to show you what I actually think is going on. There was actually a big bombshell dropped yesterday. And I haven't really seen it talked about anywhere. And I just found this clip tonight, but it wasn't all over the news. You know what's all over the news tonight? Some Republicans said some racist things. My gosh, Democrats are calling to kill people, and Republicans, can we just as the right stick together and stop denouncing everybody on our side because some group chat came out? I just don't understand it. Michelle is on. My gosh, Michelle, it's a little late. I mean, I'm going a little late tonight. Anyways, good to see you on Scoop and Debs and all. Yeah, please smash that like. Do chat in with where you're from. Let's see who's on the stream tonight. While we listen to Mr. Barack Obama, I'm going to show this is like a 20-second video. I just want you to watch his body language. And in the comments, I want you to kind of comment what you think of his body language, what you think is going on here. And then we'll get into this big bombshell.
We don't want kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold for doing.
Now, look at him. Seriously, tell me what his body language is saying to you. Trumped up charges. Seriously.
That, we want like our court system and our Justice Department and our prosecutors to be, and our FBI to be just playing things straight and looking at the facts and not meddling in politics the way we've seen lately.
Okay, you guys are funny, funny comments. Okay, I look at this freeze frame of him. Eyes down to the right, crossing his legs, folded arms. That's a closed body language. To me, it looks like he knows he's selling a load of BS. But he almost seems nervous. I mean, do you guys see that in this? That he seems a little nervous, maybe a little on edge. Do you guys see this? I'm just curious. I'm gonna drop this. So Jesse Waters shared this yesterday, and this is a big story, and I don't know why it's not getting airplay. But this is dealing with Tulsi Gabbard, Barack Obama, Charles Brennan. How many of you saw this come out yesterday? Tulsi Gabbard basically confirmed that Obama knew everything. Charles Brennan, they were all in on this. This is a wild. I mean, I guess we kind of figured this was going on, but to actually see this is wild. So here we go.
News alert, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true.
So, folks, I mean, how many of you guys saw this? I mean, it was a false report. False report. Now, again, we knew, okay, so please stop with all the, oh, no, I knew that all along, Neil. No, this is now directly from inside the government coming out, Tulsi Gabbard finding the documents and outing this. This is big news, folks. I hope you all understand how big a news this is.
It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade.
Locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade.
Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it.
I love this. So Michael Martinez says this video is over a month old. Thank you, Michael. I just saw this for the first time yesterday. I mean, I've been out hunting. Okay. So just give me a break, Michael. I know it's old. Okay. I just saw it for the first time yesterday. But this video, again, I'll go back to this video from Barack Obama. That was just from a couple days ago. Barack Obama. What is, I'm curious, what do you think is going to come of all this? What do you think is going to come of all this?
It looked like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing.
So I had heard about the John Brennan thing, but I hadn't seen this whole report. So Brennan actually siloed the CIA analysts. One of the things I think that happens with the news today, so like this video from a month ago, right? What are we hearing about it today? Like, seriously, this is big news. Huge news. I'm out hunting and this news had dropped and I missed it. I heard a little bit about Brennan, but I hadn't seen this full report. And what the heck? Why is this not still the news cycle? This should still be the news cycle. What are we on to? We're on to Republicans group chat. Really? That's what we're on to now? When we've got the biggest scandal ever in the history of the U.S. government? This is like makes Watergate look like child's play. And now we're like, oh, we've just moved past this? Is that where we're at as a country? I'm serious about this. I mean, like, I am watching this, and again, I just saw this yesterday, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why is this not still in the news? Until this is solved, why is this not still in the news? Can somebody help me out on this? This is a huge story. Okay, so Brennan should have already been indicted. Yeah, exactly. We all owe Nixon a big apology. But again, I'm gonna pop this other video back in. So a bunch more people have jumped on. So we're looking at this, and we're looking at this video.
We don't want
the other day. This is just the other day, and look at his body language. Does he know? I mean, are things going on behind the scenes that this is not going to play out well for Obama?
Kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold. Yeah.
We used to scold. Okay. Kangaroo courts, trumped up charges. The director of national intelligence is saying that you, Obama, were directing people in the CIA, in our FBI, to run these false reports. And this is news we're supposed to move on from?
Only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either.
This is what blows my mind so much. So, like, this was big news I'm out hunting, right? I was out in Colorado, whatever, heard rumblings about the Brennan thing. And now I'm watching this report from a month ago or whatever. And I just heard this in passing, and we're not hearing anything more about it now. Yeah, do you guys see how I'm apoplectic about this? This is, I mean, again, we knew this, but then Tulsi Gabbard confirms it, and with the whole details of it, this is worth revisiting.
Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3.
Yeah, because Trump's been really good to Putin, hasn't he? I mean, sanctions on him, talking about ratcheting up more sanctions. Oh, yeah, Trump and Putin, they're like buddies. Come on.
3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank and file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards.
So, again, let me ask this question. I want a question for the chat, because again, like I said, I'm out. I was out elk hunting. Never saw this report. I love being out of the news. Love it. I do. I mean, I'll tell you what. Does anybody else just love to get out of the news? Love to just drop social media? Love to just get out of this political game every once in a while, and just get lost in the woods and hunt and fish and whatever? I mean, how many of you like to do that? Because I love it. But what's wild to me is that this ran while I was out, and I haven't heard this since. Like, this hasn't been like the daily news. And Politico is now reporting about a group chat of supposedly some young Republicans making some bad remarks, when we've got a guy running for attorney general in Virginia who's calling to assassinate lawmakers' children. Come on. This is insane. Why is this not still the news cycle? We move on from news too fast. And I think that we, as the consumers of news, are rewarding new news too much, instead of asking for these stories that are of actual great importance to be dug into more. So I love the internet. I do. I remember when it first came out. So the guys just, go down this trail with me right around 2000. The internet kind of comes on the scene. I mean, I know it came out in the 90s, but really like 2000, it was like this big thing, right? And the internet, do you guys all remember? I mean, it's just like it was the Wild West of business, of information, of all of it. The internet comes on the scene. And do you remember, like maybe 5 years into the internet, how awesome it was? How you could specifically find exactly what you wanted? Do you guys remember Craigslist, where you could search for a car and only get the cars that you actually wanted to look at? Now it's all gone to Fake Book Marketplace, and they give you all these crap cars that you don't want to see when you're looking to buy a car. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The internet used to be so awesome, right? But then what happened with the internet is everything became this quick news cycle. And instead of having more in-depth reporting that lasted and continued on, so let's just say, like I saw somebody's comment earlier, we owe a big apology to Nixon dealing with Watergate, which is true, we do. But one of the things with Watergate is they continued that news cycle and continued digging into that story, and they just researched more. Now we just drop news, dump it, and move on. So do you guys get what I'm saying on this? Like, I don't think we're delving into the news as well as we used to. We're like, oh, there's the new news. We're like, squirrels chasing after nuts or something. Okay. I'm just saying, just wild. This should still be the news. I'm here to make sure it's still the news right now.
There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was Russia in a very systematic way in trying to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of.
Okay, let me ask you folks a question. You just saw three people, and then we've seen Obama as well. So you saw Clinton, Obama, Comey, and Brennan. Who do you think's the worst of the lot? I know that's a tough question to answer, but who's the worst of the lot? Clinton, Comey, Brennan, or Obama? Derek Graham, there you are again. A $50 super sticker. Thanks, Derek. That's huge. Thank you.
Of Donald Trump being elected?
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House.
Exactly.
What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won.
Hold on a sec. Somebody made a comment. So I love this. You guys have a lot of great Obama seems to be winning here. I just think Brennan's about the worst of them all, man. I'm just telling you, I like to listen to that guy talk, and it is just nuts. I like this comment, Steve Dodder. That's why they keep having more major catastrophes. They want the news flooded. We should be talking about that explosion. They will continue to investigate the whole time. Pray for arrests. Good comment there. Thanks, Steve.
He had no preference, but like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her, dirt that he never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems.
Okay, this is well documented. So I don't know if you know this, but the night Hillary Trump won the election and Hillary lost. Well, this is, we defeated the wrong enemy, George S. Patton. I read the book, Killing Patton, a very good book it was Bill O'Reilly and his ghostwriter, but thanks for that comment. But where was I? I just saw that comment. I had to get it up there. Where was I, folks? I was like, got distracted here. Hold on. I'm going to go back and just add this.
Never released. Now,
Hillary. Okay, so here's the deal. When Hillary Clinton had to give her concession speech in 2016, and she was supposed to break the glass ceiling and all that, it is well recorded by her staffers that when she came back up to her hotel room, she was yelling expletives and throwing stuff around the room, freaking out like a baby. Okay, that happened. So her psycho-emotional problems are real.
Putin wanted Trump to win. Why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's health?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is...
Wait. Carrie, didn't she give Bill a black eye? I don't know. Did she? Is this real? Did she give Bill Clinton a black eye? Did that happen? I'm curious. Like, have the rest of you heard of this? Bill Clinton a black eye? Maybe she's like Katie Porter dumping potatoes on Bill's head.
Is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did.
Sounds like a bad Wall Street deal. They're cooking the books, but on intelligence.
Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country. Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Okay, do you know what I like about Tulsi Gabbard? And I wasn't sold on her at the beginning of Trump's administration. She's just so point of fact. She just seems so credible. I mean, when she talks, it's like when I hear Brennan talk, I mean, right now he seems scared, like Obama in that video we saw. But Tulsi is just so matter of fact. And when Brennan spoke before about all of this, he seemed like he was speaking in hyperbole, like a bad used car salesman. Tulsi's just very, I mean, do you guys agree with me on this? I'm curious. Because I wasn't sold on her at the beginning, but she just seems credible.
Even 2 years later, after the election, Barack Obama was still pushing a hoax he knew wasn't true. And he knew it wasn't true because he helped manufacture it.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB.
Gosh.
Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened?
No.
That's just too much for me. Unbelievable.
I don't know if it's possible to indict a former president for actions he took while in office. I'm not a lawyer, proudly. But Brennan, Comey, and others may have severe liability. Trey Gowdy says we know for a fact that Brennan committed perjury when he lied to Congress.
Director Brennan, do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
You know if the Bureau ever relied on the Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because it wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
No, that's a lie. Whatever happens to these guys is not revenge. It's accountability. And it's time for people to pay the price.
Amen, folks. Okay, because I want you to think, okay, and again, I do believe at the end of the day, you know, I've had Mike Lindell on, we've talked about this, that it was God's grace that we went through what we went through, and people don't like hearing that. They don't, but I think it's true. It was God's grace that we went through. I mean, if 2020, if that hadn't happened, folks, we would not be where we are today. We would not have, people's eyes would not have been open to the extent they are. Never have we seen a period in time where more people became concerned about their health through COVID and researching that, about elections and researching that and what went on. Okay, if 2020 didn't happen the way it did, we never would have seen that. But think of all the harm done. Speaking of Mike Lindell, do go check out MyPillow, mypillow.com/lumberjack for big savings on the best sleep products available, folks. 1-800-568-2865. The towels are back in stock. The closeouts on the percale sheets, the My Slippers, the dog beds, the mattresses. If you ever needed a mattress, now's the time, folks. It's free shipping, even on the big stuff. So go check it out at mypillow.com/lumberjack. 1-800-568-2865. I was texting with Mike tonight. And I know a lot of you have heard about the whole, Dominion buyout, and then somehow this case went away. Well, apparently it didn't. I was talking with Mike about that. It sounds like that whole Dominion thing is still going on. I got to get more details on it. I'm going to add this back in because now we're at a point where in the U.S. government, and I was talking with Heather Mullins about this today, but you go inside the FBI and how many bad actors are still left in the FBI? You know, because we were talking about it and she and I were on the same page. I mean, we trust Cash and Dan. I don't know where you guys are at. I mean, people have all these opinions on it and everything, but I just, I've met them both. I do tend to trust Cash and Dan to do the right thing at the FBI, but how many bad holdouts are still in there? But that being said, on a whole, right, Trump's cabinet is good. He's got all these people in positions. They're not leaking. There's just all kinds of good things going on. Hegseth is cleaning up the military. So we're seeing lots of positive things there. So we don't have the government apparatus working against us like it was. We don't have them lying about Trump to the same extent. Okay. But now the media, we had all the different hoaxes before, folks. I want to show you this. This is the new hoaxes. Okay. Now I covered the, okay. So this is out of the Federalist. Here's a list of every media hoax launched during Trump's second term. Look at this. 31, judge's house burns down. I did a video on this, right? Okay. Yet Democrats, including but not limited to Newsom's director of communications, Daniel Goldman, Neera Tanden, and others immediately jumped to link the tragedy to Trump administration's disdain for one of Goodstein's recent rulings. Harmeet Dillon had posted this out, right? I covered this, right? Nothing. This whole judge's house ablaze, they ran this time. House of South Carolina judge criticized by Trump administration set ablaze. It wasn't set ablaze. Okay, the house was not set ablaze. Apparently, there was no foul play, okay, in this house fire. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Summer of Love 2.0. Legacy media went all out to whitewash leftist agitators rioting in opposition to immigration enforcement in Los Angeles, California. As the Federalist Jordan Boyd reported, corporate media quickly realized they couldn't defend the violence and anti-American symbolism defining the deportation resistance, so they did their best to downplay and even deny it, even as it heats up in areas outside of LA. Okay? The media hacks attempted to present these destructive demonstrations as normal, peaceful protests, despite the exact opposite being true. And then do you remember when they started running American flags at the protest? Do you guys remember this? Because they were flying Mexican flags or, flags from other countries and then holding upside down American flags. And then they realized that was a bad look. So they started flying American flags at this. Do you remember this? It's just silly. I'm sure that was probably all part of their whole cabal of people, the media being part of it. Blue suit scandal. The New York Times published an entire article dedicated to criticizing Trump for wearing a suit that allegedly made him stand out in a sea of world leaders and famous faces who were dressed in customary black at Pope Francis's funeral. Other outlets quickly caught on to calling Trump out for breaking dress code. Okay, a zoomed out photo of the mass mourning event shows several world leaders and officials in the same blue attire Trump donned. Do you remember this? This goofiest little scandal. Hegseth's makeup studio. CBS News claimed that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth ordered a makeup studio installed at the Pentagon. Okay? Totally fake. Department of Defense also know that changes are made to the green room using existing inventory. Lifting Russian energy sanctions. Okay? This is anonymously sourced again. Never happened. Vance's Vatican visit. J.D. Vance ripped for embarrassing gaffe during Vatican visit, which contained comments from social media users attacking the vice president for having his photo taken with his son inside the famed Sistine Chapel. Seemingly eager to smear Vance, Arkaki stated that the Vatican's visitor policies, which states in the Sistine Chapel is forbidden to take photographs or films with any type of electronic equipment. Not until the article's 13th paragraph, however, are readers informed that there is a track record of political figures being photographed in the chapel. The Maryland father, the Maryland man. Do you guys remember this one? I don't think we need to go over this. I did a bunch of videos on Abrego Garcia. I thought it was one of those gross stories of all time. They grossly mischaracterized the illegal alien and alleged MS-13 gang member as Maryland man. Okay? Space Force Colonel firing. Okay? Colonel Susan Myers was removed from command after the incident. The media rushed to cover up the reason for her dismissal. And so this is, again, we're on out of 31, number 25. Folks, these keep on going on. And this is a trip down memory lane. Again, we are going through news too fast. PR on X only. Okay? Will be shifting its publication communication exclusively to X. The Trump administration called that absolutely false. They did not do that with the Social Security Administration. Veterans Affairs disinformation. We've got Signalgate. Remember Signalgate? The Atlantic's head hoaxer, Jeffrey Goldberg, published an article in late March alleging he was added to a sensitive chat between some of the Trump administration's cabinet about military strikes in Yemen. Okay, they all jumped over it. Not only has Signal been used by both Republican and Democrat administrations to host sensitive conversations, but chat documents also show Hegseth referring to a more detailed, classified conversation about the strikes that would take place on a channel aside from Signal. So again, the stuff on Signal was not even a big deal. Elon Musk's Pentagon visit. I mean, it's just on and on. This is just since he was elected this last time, folks. These aren't old. This is... God, how long's Trump been president? We're only in October, okay? The 10th month of the year. And, reality is it's only about 9 months. Trump and Putin are very good friends, okay? No, he just knows them and they respect each other. Respect is actually a good thing. Trump's bed. The Daily Beast published an article with a headline that insinuated President Trump offered his bed to a female political ally behind First Lady Melania's back. Don't tell Melania. In reality, the joke Trump told, as alleged Axios reporter Alex Inson's new book, Revenge, the Inside Story of Trump's Return to Power, occurred when then president candidate offered the pregnant GOP rep Anna Luna the bed on his private jet because she started to feel ill during a flight in 2023. Okay. I mean, I don't know, folks. Isn't that like a good thing to offer a pregnant woman a place to lay down? Wouldn't that actually be chivalrous? And yet they're trying to make it this big story about Trump. Eagles White House visit. Oh, I remember that. The football team wasn't going to show up. They did this whole story on that. Deportation orders for legal resident grad student. Remember Mahmoud Khalil? Okay. Trump administration can deport Khalil due to the potentially serious foreign policy consequences of letting him stay in the country. Transgender mice. The Department of Government Efficiency uncovered $8 million in taxpayer funds devoted to making transgender mice. Did throw millions of Americans' hard-earned money in the form of grants at tests on the effects of gender-affirming hormone therapy on HIV vaccine-induced immune responses and other experiments. CNN eventually removed the characterization of the claim as false. Military purge. After Trump removed several pro-DEI military officers from their respective positions, the media leapt into action to frantically declare there's a purge. It just goes on. The Dr. Oz disclosure. Bye-bye Five Eyes. Doge firings. I mean, the same corporate media that cheered the Biden administration's forced COVID jab mandate, which put thousands of bureaucrats out of work, are filling their pages and TV slots with sob stories about the federal employees fired. That was the most beautiful time on the face of God's green earth. Do you guys remember all that when Doge was really at it? Oh gosh, I couldn't get enough of it. I could not get enough of it. How many of you love the concept of Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, utilizing these young tech guys who are going in there and outing all the fraud using their AI and superior programming skills? Okay. Hey, speaking of transgender, I could go on, but I'm not going to. I want to share this with you. It drives me nuts. I mean, all this stuff just drives me nuts. I mean, our media sucks. Gas today in Duluth was $2.59. Really, Michelle? That's awesome. I think I filled up for $2.72, but that's utilizing the Upside app. Unheard. Why are fewer young people identifying as trans? Folks, this is awesome. Look at this. A surprising shift is taking place in... I just can't even use their language. I'm sorry. I'm just moving on. But the Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression, FIRE, which conducts a large annual survey of U.S. undergraduates, polled over 60,000 students in 2025. My analysis of the raw data shows in that year, just 3.6% of respondents identified as a gender other than that of male or female. By comparison, the figure was 5.2% in 2024 and 6.8% in 2022 and 2023. In other words, the share of these identified students has effectively halved in 2 years. Here's an interesting one. Elite institutions, Andover Phillips Academy in 2023, 9.2%. This year, it's crashed to 3%. Brown University, 5%, dropped to 2.6%. This is huge news. It's great news, folks, because obviously the brainwashing of the cult media isn't working anymore. So anyways, do me a favor, smash that like before you leave. Please go check out MyPillow. Go support Mike with all he's going through. I'm surprised. In fact, here I'm gonna read to you something that Mike sent me tonight. I said, didn't Dominion drop its suit? He said, they did not. That is a lie. The guy that bought it is not good. It is a total sham. A lot of people were excited that Dominion had been bought by this, because all they did this Liberty vote. According to Mike, they did not drop the suit against him. In fact, my understanding is that they got a judgment against him without even going to court. So I got to look into all this, but please go support him. Free shipping right now. Get your Christmas gifts at mypillow.com/lumberjack or call the 800 number. I always tell people call the 800 number. Give those at-home moms and dads some business. 1-800-568-2865. Support American workers. All right. I love y'all. I mean, it's just, I watched that whole report with Jesse Waters, and I just wasn't that in the news at that time because obviously it was out in the mountains and wasn't getting news, wasn't getting reception. And then to go back and look at that, and I'm wondering, why isn't this still big news today? It should be. It should be. Anyways, I love y'all. Keep fighting the good fight, all right? Peace out.